Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative.
And that's all leads back to control. The government controls what we eat. They control what we think. They control what we feel. And then we wake up one day and be like, damn, I got...
Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative. Urban conservative.
But isn't that American dream? That American dream is... Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality. But isn't that American dream? That American dream is. Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality. But isn't that American dream? That American dream is. Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality.
QAnon, my futon, hold it up and smoke it. Transgression of progression of a war we ain't asked for. Transgression of progression of a war we ain't asked for.
It's madness, yo. All the things that we could talk about.
Call it.
But let's talk about these urban circumstances real quick.
And basically, it's
we got this.
So,
Revolutionary.
Frosty hand. Muhammad is the fame's name, forever stand.
Standing on royal fusing of justice for the few, ridiculed by the pale terrorists bent on genocidal obsession, rooted in fear of neglection and abandonment, fueled by nightmares of ancestors.
Because at the end of the day, I still want to be able to I don't dislike George Washington.
The kind of friends I think all friends should be like my friends. My friends are the kind of friends I think everyone needs. My friends see the things at times I don't see. My friends hate the police.
What has changed?
Are deemed the criminals, and the blacks are deemed the criminals.
shut up and help.
Reflection ain't nothing but the inner child trying to see you. You gonna look? You gonna pick up that book?
Lord, keep me far from the faith. Guide me through night and day. Teach me your ways. Show me the righteous way to sway. Lord, can you teach me, please? Show me the way, I'd say. Grand Risings, and welcome back to another season, another episode of The Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal. We're excited to have you join us on this journey of thoughtful discourse and community engagement. The Urban Conservative is proudly sponsored by the Leon Block Network, an organization committed to promoting transparency, truth, and accountability in our media landscape. Here at The Urban Conservative, our mission remains steadfast to bring you the latest news directly from the streets, addressing critical topics such as gun violence, crime, politics, and perhaps most importantly, exploring solutions to the profound challenges our communities face. As we embark on this third season, the focus is clear. It's time to actively contribute to the transformation of our communities for the better. How can we achieve this? The answer lies in a multifaceted approach that starts with reconnecting with our core family values, strengthening our sense of community is paramount, fostering bonds that transcend the barriers that often divide us. Moreover, it involves embracing our foundational roots, recognizing the historical and cultural threads that weave through the fabric of our society. In this season, we are calling for more than words. We seek action. It's a plea to move beyond mere rhetoric and engage in tangible, impactful initiatives that contribute to positive change. The time for empty words has passed. Now more than ever, we need to put our convictions into action. Together, united by a common purpose, we can make a substantial and lasting difference in the well-being of our communities. So join us on this journey as we explore not only the challenges, but also the opportunities for growth and progress. Together, let's turn our shared vision for stronger, safer, and more connected communities into a reality. Thank you for being a part of the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal, a platform dedicated to fostering change and making a positive impact on the world around us. Shut up and help. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Monday. It's Black History Month, which every day should be Black History Month. Every day should be history for every American, regardless if you're white, if you're Black, if you're an American. It should be about our history. It shouldn't be about the things that we are being indoctrinated to believe, to think. And that's kind of really what I want to get into today. So this episode is, and wait, let me step back a little bit. I got John Tell with me today, my producer, not only my producer for the Urban Conservative, but also producer for music. He also is a producer for the Leon Block Indie Sounds. He also has his own shows. He also is an artist, Circumstantial Saint. So let's welcome him to the Urban Conservative this morning. You're not gonna talk? Herb the John Tell. 911. Help. Man down. Well, we'll get back to him. He's unmuted. I don't know what's going on. That's what's wrong with, today we do live shows. So y'all get it with us live. But what I wanted to talk about today is revolution rising. From Alex Haley's roots to Roy Wilkins, the 1994 crime bill, and of course, George Floyd, which started a whole new revolution. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because there's been narratives, there's been truth, there's been lies, there's been stories. And that's what I want to get into. But first I want to get into, it's Black History Month, and all month since, I've been doing, can you talk, John Tell? I still can't hear him. He'll figure it out. But I wanted to get into an individual that I really honestly didn't hear about until over the weekend, and that kind of pissed me off a little bit. So I want everybody to realize who I'm about to discuss, and that is Reverend Thomas Fountain Blue. I'm going to play this video, and then I'm going to tell you guys about the educator, the trend center, Thomas Fountain Blue. So here, let me shut up.
The first Black man in the country to lead a public library was honored today at Eastern Seminary with other city leaders and community members gathered today to dedicate a hall in.
Just overwhelmed with joy and gratitude and just gratefulness, just full of gratefulness for all of what's been done. And just the fact that all these people are here and recognizing my grandfather.
Reverend Blue died in 1935 and was buried in an unmarked grave alongside his wife. The grave was discovered through a partnership between the Western Library and Friends of Eastern Cemetery.
Are you?
phone. Whoops. As we talk about Reverend Thomas Blue, for me, I wanted to acknowledge Thomas Franklin, or Fountain Blue, who was born on March 6, 1866 in Louisville, Kentucky. He was a distinguished minister, educator, and civic leader. Blue's impact resonates through his leadership of the colored branches of the Louisville Free Public Library. Beyond his influential role in the library system, Blue stands out as an early trainer of African American librarians in an era where access to education and information was fraught with challenges for the African American community. Blue's efforts were instrumental in fostering a more inclusive and diverse library environment. His commitment to education and civic leadership marked a significant step towards breaking barriers and promoting equality. On this day, we honor Thomas Fountain Blue for his tireless dedication to shaping a more enlightened and inclusive society. Let's remember and reflect on his enduring contributions during this Black History Month 2024. And for me, that story for me was, you got to think about the times, because we didn't have DEI, we didn't have affirmative action. So basically, literally, when we think about our ancestors and we think about our leaders and our heroes from the past, we also have to think about those times, because during that era, and you have to look at that era for the simple fact that there wasn't all this legislation, there wasn't all these rights. So for the fact that you were literally held and seen with other people, even though you didn't have that, they got there by their merit. And that's what I want people to realize, is that we don't need all this legislation to be able to sit in seats. Because I know right now, a lot of people who, I think about Thurgood Marshall, who got there by his merit, right? Who got there because he was a man of the law and literally did things that nobody was doing, right? You got to look at history, because we look at people like Ben Crump, right? We look at people, other lawyers. I don't know how many documentaries and other things that I've seen in the last 4 years that have opened my eyes to why I understand now why we have the problems that we have, because we're undereducated, and that's what I want to talk about today, is Revolution Rising, because there's a lot of things that I think people don't know or they don't understand. And I'm going to break it down to you piece by piece. So over the weekend, I was having a great conversation on Twitter, and me and the person, we were talking about Black history, because they were like, well, why does it Black people have to have a whole month and white people don't even have a day? And I'm like, Black History Month is White People Month. How isn't it not? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you right now that we are so indoctrinated, right? That the stories that we've been told aren't even true. It's fictional. And what's crazy is, I'm a 46-year-old Black man, and I didn't even know until this weekend that Roots is not a true story. It's fictional, right? He got it from a lot of parts from two different books. One, The African, and it really took me back. I had to step back for a minute, because I was like, wait, hold on a minute. So you mean to tell me that Alex Haley Roots was plagiarism? It wasn't even true. They sent me the lawsuit. And I was like, wait a minute. Wow. And then to even hear the judge's words, and then to even hear to the conspiracy and things behind roots, and how a whole nation, a whole continent, a whole world believed something that was not even a true story, right? So then it made me go back and think, so if they told us about roots, right? Alex Haley told us that slavery, how, Chicken George, Kunta Kinte, you know what I'm saying? And all those people, and I'm sure a lot of that experiences that were in the book or that were in the movie were real, but it was more to be a shocker. It was more of like it's supposed to be like a feel good, like, oh, Black people can overcome. But at the end of the day, all that shit was fictional. It wasn't even true. It wasn't even a real life story, because is there really a Kunta Kinte? Alex Haley says there is. But when you go back and you look at the comparisons between the African and which was written by a white man, and he talked about a 12-year-old who journeyed through slavery of being captured and all of that through Africa and then his journey. And it's like, damn, how are we supposed to believe anything that these people tell us if we don't do the research ourselves? And I know what's crazy is because when I seen Roots, I was young. We were all young, right? When we first experienced Alex Haley's Roots, because I think the PBS or whatever came special with Reading Rainbow guy came out, and I think it was like either 77 or 79, somewhere around there. But just to see all that shit and to believe that it was a lot of that was true, right? Because I'm gonna get even Roy Wilkins, but I want to get into this. I want to get into this video with this is brother Dick Gregory. So I just want people to listen. I probably won't play the whole 9 minutes, but I'll play most of it. So just listen.
That's why the professor at great black professor at Harvard University. I mean, how Harvard when they that happened the night he came back from China. You're aware of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a neighbor clubhouse. What point do you suspect somebody's robbing, taking stuff in the house and not bringing stuff out?
Mm-hmm.
You know what that was about?
What was it about?
He brought 40-some boxes back with him. That was the CIA and the FBI setting up a situation where they could get him out the house so they could go in and check them boxes out. What is this Negro bringing back from China? That's what that was about. Now, when I heard him come out and say something negative about, Django, I can't understand it, but at least I know why. He worked here at Harvard University, man. He can't let them white folks know he enjoyed that. He can't let them white folks know he enjoyed that. All them white folks were killed. And also, he's the first dude of substance that blew the whistle on what's the guy who wrote Alex Haley. And Alex Haley hadn't wrote none of that. I was out there doing it because I don't care what you think of me. I know he didn't write it. But see, the editor of Playboy magazine, Murray Fisher, wrote all of that stuff, okay? And if you punch up on your computer, Harry Hollander, who wrote one of the best books on Africa called The African, a white boy. Kunta Kinte came out of his book word for word.
Wow.
And if you check out the trial in upstate New York, where a federal judge made the publisher and Alex Haley pay him $650,000 and then made him apologize to him in the court, and the judge said, I worked a lot of these cases, but I never saw anybody take something word for word like you have. And
you know what?
Yeah.
I would say, like with Tarantino, he said that he said that Django was better than Roots, and a lot of people got mad about that. He said Django Chain was better than Roots. It was. It was
7 Hood. At least we know where it comes from. When that Kunta Kinte got that book, he couldn't hit that white boy. Did Jesus? They killed King. Did he make you mad? Okay, so you gonna pick who you gonna be mad at and who you're not, because you don't understand. I just told you just now. And one of the things I think you should do, we don't have the time now, listen, you got your computer sitting in front of you?
Yes, sir.
You got it in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Then punch up the federal courts in upstate New York, punch up Harry Hollander, who wrote the applicant and the case. It is right there. Okay? All that crap he was doing wasn't nothing but lies. Wasn't nothing but lies that somebody else wrote the truth, but he didn't write it. He didn't write it. If I know that Alex Haley didn't write Roots and didn't write Malcolm, okay? See, the thing you asked him, he said he hated Malcolm. Listen, he wasn't just working. They recruited Alex Haley out of naval intelligence, okay?
Right.
Now, how I know that and he don't know it, right? All right. Now, when he became world renowned, it was because the articles, while he's supposed to have been with Malcolm, he was doing for Playboy magazine. Okay? He didn't write none of them articles in Playboy magazine. Okay? That was the editor of Playboy, Murray Fisher, right? Who wrote that, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, when the book come out, Murray Fisher wrote the book, all of it, right? Now, let's take a look at it. When the brother said that he plagiarized, right? The author. Now, listen to this. He Roots, that came out of the book called The Applicant, Harold Portlander, right?
Yes, sir.
When he said he sued him, it wasn't $1 million. He sued him, and they settled out of court for $650,000. And he had to admit, okay, that he took the stuff out of the book, that he had never done none of that stuff he said in the book and the whole thing, right?
Yes, sir.
And so now the trial lasted, I think it was 2 weeks, right? Now, the great part about is this trial took place in federal court, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's public domain. All you gotta do is get up and you find out the judge's name. During the trial, presiding U.S. District Judge Robert J. Ward stated, copyright, this is, period. In a later interview, he told BBC television, Judge Ward said Alex Haley perpetrated the biggest hoax in the history of the public, right? And now this is documented, this is federal court. He told him, he told him, go settle this or I'm gonna get you for perjury because we have evidence. Told him from his lawyer that you had this book 18 months before you testified that you ever heard of it, okay? Now, when Malcolm came out on page 122, he listed Dick Gregory.
Right.
In other words, Malcolm spoke to told him, Dick Gregory told me about Elijah Muhammad's women. Well, I lived around the corner from Elijah, so I went around with the book. I said, man, I guess the government's trying to make y'all mad at me so they can kill me and blame it on y'all. I said, I love Malcolm. I love you. I've been knowing you really for no. I would tell you something on Malcolm before I tell Malcolm something on you. Now I'm saying, now this is very important.
Yes,
did you hear when he said stuff was being sold, right? Now let me tell you something very important. There's been few books at that time that have made as much royalty money. You hear me? As Alex Haley. All over the world is making millions of dollars, even now, right?
Yes, sir.
The Roots, the TV, the whole thing, right? Now, let's think about it. Let's say you write a book that becomes a runaway bestseller. You're making $50, $60 million a year royalties, okay? You owe me $10,000, right?
Yes, sir.
But you're an alcoholic, you're a drunk, you're a drug addict, and you're a gambler, right? So you broke, right? Now, I'm not going to have my lawyers auction off your possession because every 6 months you get a new royalty check, right? So all I got to do is go into federal court and attach your royalties and I get the money before you get it. So why did they have to auction? Because Alex didn't have nothing. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Now, how come Malvo didn't put that in the book? I know it, but he didn't know it. See, all of them perpetrate fraud, but they do it just enough. Okay? So with his job, see, when they killed Malcolm, all the stuff changed, and nobody didn't realize that wasn't what Malcolm was telling him, right?
Right.
So now, all at once now, it didn't kill Malcolm. It made Malcolm big, right? Malcolm got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
They ain't lying about that. Malcolm did get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Shit, I just watched a couple of shows this weekend about Malcolm and Martin. Actually, National Geographic has a great. I would call it a show because there's actors in it. But it's talking about Martin and Malcolm and leading up to their deaths, and damn, they were powerful men. But then it made me wonder about Malcolm's death a little bit more because I had heard, you hear rumors, and things. So I definitely wanted to spotlight that. So I dug into more. I found a documentary called Who Killed Malcolm on Netflix, and this shit blew my mind of finding all these different especially in the you there now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, I guess my laptop's having some issues today. Thank you for that warm welcome earlier, bro. I appreciate that.
Always.
Nah, but this topic you're going on today is pretty interesting. So let me get this straight. If I'm gathering all this correctly, right? So there was a white guy who came up with the book The African.
Yep.
And so he came up with the original, not that the storyline's real, but whatever. But he came up with the original story that ended up being the show The Roots that a black guy plagiarized.
Yeah, so basically you had this author, Harry Howard Coulter or whatever his name is, and he wrote a book called The African. And it's basically, so what Alex basically did, or whoever this other guy is from the Playboy, they basically just switched the names from the character in The African to Kunta Kinte. They're saying, but they still saying that Kunta Kinte is really related to Alex Haley, and there's been a lot of debate about that because of what Alex actually said in court, and that's what Dick Gregory was bringing up about the fact is that people have to, go back, like he said, if you got that computer right there in front of you, Google it, look it up. Because it's not things they're going to come out and just openly tell us.
True.
And it really saddened me because that's something that I literally, you know what I'm saying, I think a lot of black people have, took a lot of feeling and emotion with that series, with the book, even with Malcolm, and so I always feel like, we always go back to that shit about tokenism and that feel good shit. And it's like, was that what that was all about? Is to make black people actually feel good in a traumatized and brutal type of way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like shit, because I'm gonna even get it. I don't know when because this next one that I want to do, I want to get into Emmett Till, and because there's a lot to that. And not saying that Emmett Till was a lie or anything like that, but there's a lot of shit to Emmett and how people got rich, and that brings me to Roy Wilkins. A lot of people didn't even know that Roy Wilkins is from Minnesota.
Hold on though. So this guy, the Haley guy, right? The one who took the story, right? The one who took the story. I'm guessing that he ended up getting cheated out in the end too. Am I correct?
See, now the way that you look at it, from the way that Dick Gregory and the way that I can see looking up the book, is that, yeah, Alex Haley really didn't get paid off that book. He didn't. It was everybody else around him that got paid. So when he sued, when the author of The African sued Alex Haley, he also had to include Doubleday and the publishing and all that, because of the simple fact of Alex wasn't getting paid off that book because he didn't write. He didn't write that story. But it was a book first. You know what I'm saying? He's saying the way that Alex told the story of how he came up with Roots is listening to his family members and they're discussing about slavery and where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually a book already that was made of. But it just shocked me because I know for shit, I think just even 2 weeks ago, I was saying, maybe not even 2 weeks ago, but just a while ago, that Roots was a true story. And I think even just going back, because now I got a Roku, and it's Black History Month, and what's the first thing that I see every time I turn on my TV is,
of course,
the Roots thing, is a preview ad for Roots talking about no ads, come watch it for free. And it's like, now I look at that shit and be like, oh, boy, hell. For real, like, or even just about like who I talked about this morning already, Thomas Fountain Blue. I didn't know him.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew nothing about him until this weekend. Or even Henry Box Brown, the guy with came up with the spark plug. I didn't know that. I love history. I love history and going back and looking at. That's why I say this whole DEI shit didn't earn it.
I believe that it's a fallacy. It's another way. It's the equivalent. So DEI to 2020 is what the quote unquote Civil Rights era and the Voting Rights Act was for the late 60s. It's a way to just water us down and say, oh, we did something for y'all, when really it's just another way to kick the can down the aisle again and say that something was done for us when it really wasn't.
No, and see, that's the crazy thing of it is, because if people listen to that Dick Gregory interview, and honestly, I'll put it's about a 3-hour interview, and it's from 2011, I believe. And he gets into some deep shit, and it was crazy because I was at work last night, and I've been listening to a podcast that has gone in depth about the 1994 Crime Bill Act, and the guys were sitting there laughing at me because they're like, damn, did it really do all of that? And I'm like, yeah, and it's crazy how you have people who voted for that have came out and spoken against it, but they still haven't changed anything about it.
Right.
And then there was only 4 people that voted nay on that. And one of the people that voted nay, Mr. Scott from Virginia, he's the one that was speaking about it. And I also found that there was one from Wisconsin, Feingold, and then Dernberger, who is actually a Republican. He was the only Republican to vote no. And I've reached out to some older Republicans here in Minnesota. He passed away, rest in peace, Mr. Dernberger. Passed away last year in January. but I'm hoping that that there's people that I can talk to that were close and maybe either worked for him and to see why he voted no on the 1994 crime bill, like because I do believe his reasoning is going to be different from Scott's, who was a Democrat, and he voted because he voted no. He explained why he voted no, and it really tripped me out because Bobby Rush, if people don't remember, was a Black Panther.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and he voted yes on that bill. So it made me always wonder, and even Paul Wellstone voted yes on that bill. So it really made me wonder, these progressive ass people who call themselves progressives, but yet wrote legislation or co-signed, authored, whatever they want to call it.
But see, that was it. We got to understand the soup at that time, because you had, it was the 90s, the mid 90s on top of that. So a lot of people, especially Black people and white people, everyone was under the guise of multiculturalism, diverse, everyone's equal opportunity, everyone's made it. Black people are, for the most part, thriving more than they ever have up in history up until that point. You know what I'm saying? It was the mid 90s. Then you've got Bill Clinton just became president. You've got this feel good sensation. So you throw that on top of this mass, like, the way I see it, everyone went with the status quo, thinking that was morally and politically correct at the time. I think that everyone saw it as, if you went against the grain on that narrative, whether you were Black, white, didn't matter. If you went against the grain on that, you were the problem. How dare you not think that these kids deserve this, that, and the third? Everyone deserves to get penalized. But it was a certain
But here's my
narrative
thing
that
with
was
it though, bro,
carried.
right? Here's my thing of it, right? Because I can literally find things before even the crime bill came out, right? That was even signed, passed into law. You literally had community leaders calling out the government and the CIA for bringing drugs and guns into the Black community. So it really made me wonder, why did they do the 1994 crime bill when you literally had people calling out from poor communities, Black communities, brown communities?
Because not everyone's paying attention to that, or it registers with everyone. There's people calling out AI and the dangers of it today, but no one's listening to it. But we'll look back at it 20 years from now and look and be able to pinpoint that people were bringing this argument up. No one's paying attention.
No, but
it's a drop in the bucket.
I don't agree. I don't agree with the people are not paying attention, because we can't say that anymore, because everybody's got access right in their hands 24/7 hours a day.
That doesn't mean that people are paying attention, even if it's right in their face. Those are two different things.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm not giving people
Like
the
something.
benefit. I'm not. I'm going to tell you right now, though, of being in the society that we are, right, we have to stop giving people the benefit of the doubt that they're not realizing what the fuck is going on. It's the fact that people don't care, because you can't say that, because if we're going to say that people, that it's right there in their face and that they can't understand it, or they can't see it, no, fuck that. That's enabling people.
No, I'm just being realistic and looking at what I see. People don't pay attention because they just don't. There's some people just don't have the capacity. Some people are just hardwired to not. Some people just are tired. Some people just are ignorant. And some people really do understand, and those people just don't care. I think it's a lot of all that, and given the current standings of society, I mean, people can only stay focused on one thing for like 5 minutes at a time. You know what I mean? And compared now to the 90s, we had a lot more time and patience on our hands to sit and assess and learn stuff. Yes. But was this stuff being put on mainstream media to be shoved down people's throats like that? The 94 crime bill was. You know what I mean? The narrative surrounding it, the propaganda surrounding it to push people into thinking why this was such a needed thing to get people off our streets. Do you know what I mean? So people went right along with it without challenging it. And so, yeah, today, even though we have all of this knowledge at our fingertips, 99% of people don't utilize it, even though they know that they can. Because you can remind someone asks you a question and you can go, bro, you got a phone. Why don't you go on Google? And they'll go, oh, people do that every single day.
And I don't give people the benefit of the doubt. I call they ass dummies.
Right.
I'm going to be 100. I'm going to be 100 because I'm going to tell you right now, literally, right? It's just like something that I posted this morning about consent decrees. When are people going to wake up that is nothing more than a money grabber? And it's the same shit that we're talking about because ain't shit changed. And that's why if you don't understand where you come from, you will never understand where we're going. You'll never understand where we're going.
But see, this is what Robert was saying is proving my point. At that time, you know, people thought that this was a real thing. They believed it. They went with it. Given the propaganda that was fed to them, they just soaked it up and was like, "Oh yeah, that's real. Okay, that makes sense." And
but see, they can come out. Here's the thing of it is,
but listen. Now
they say that
we know that's not. Now we know that the studies that they use to justify all that kind of shit is not true, and we know better. When you know better, you do better.
No, but they're not. Okay, so you say that when
you had a whole group.
Better, then why are we not doing better?
You have a whole group of Black people from the 90s on that have been misled and miseducated on lots of things, whether it was then or now. And the same amount of pockets of people that were miseducated on why they ended up locking up their family and friends 30 years ago are the same people. There are the same descendants who don't have any understanding of any of this stuff today. That's why we're having this conversation, so that more people can, right? Like time may have changed, but time may have went on, but I still feel like none of this has changed. Like you still got the same amount of people that's living with their heads buried under the sand, whether the information is here or not.
How have we learned anything when they haven't corrected anything?
We haven't.
That's what I'm trying to say. Of like,
right? No, we say the same thing.
Right. Because that's the whole thing for me is, and even with college education, because I get tired of people talking about they got college degrees, but ain't doing nothing with it, but being the fucking puppet that they paid to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they still, that what's crazy is they still, none of that. We've had all of these people coming out. That's what I don't understand is, you know, even when these you know, fuck it, I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole, fuck it. But when you literally, I see these Republicans, these Black Republicans, right? Whatever they want to call themselves, because I'm not gonna call them conservatives. I'm not gonna put them in that category. But they literally come out here and they want to talk about the immigration and all of this thing and be behind President Trump. But what about our own backyards? Because the presidency ain't gonna do shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but it ain't.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing of it is, we're coming from inner city areas that have been blue for 30 years plus. 30 years plus. And I will tell you right now that these people are so cocky. These people are so cocky. South Carolina only had 4% of the Democratic voters come out, and they said it was a landslide. 4%. But they don't want to tell you that. If you look at the South Carolina primary numbers compared to the last 10 primaries, presidential primaries,
This is the least amount of voters they had. The least amount. So they're not worried about Biden is going to be November. As I'll tell you right now, I can't wait for the presidential primary polls to come out for the Republicans, because I guarantee it, them numbers will be way higher. Way higher. That's why I can't even believe these polls where they say Biden and Trump, because I don't even believe that shit. I don't really believe that Biden, and then if Biden does win, it ain't going to be because he gets the popular vote. It's because he got the electoral vote. As I do believe Trump will win the popular vote. If he's on the ballot, he will win the popular vote.
Honestly, I can't see anybody getting a significant portion of the popular vote.
You really don't see it?
I don't see anyone. I don't see any of the candidates getting a significant portion of the popular vote. Trump didn't have the popular vote last time. Why would he have it this time?
He didn't. I thought he had the popular vote in 2020.
No, not even close. Nowhere near.
I swear.
No.
I thought he was the only one one of the presidents that had the popular vote and didn't win.
No. From what I always have recalled, Trump has never, the majority of the country has never supported Trump, even when he was president. So how could he get the popular vote?
Let's see. Oh, yeah, no, he did. Biden had a popular vote. 81 million.
Bro, you have to remember, there's not many Republicans in this country. I think Democrats outnumber Republicans just as registered 2-1, I believe. So there's no way that he could never win popular vote.
Also, there ain't right.
There's not enough people. There's not enough people in America that support him. And so going into this current election, it's so divided and fractured up between candidates and parties. No one's gonna get a popular vote. Nobody.
You don't think a lot of people are gonna vote in this election?
That has nothing to do with it. The more people vote, the more people that vote, the even more fractured it's gonna be. The more people that vote, the less popular vote anyone's gonna get, is what I'm saying. So it really doesn't matter. But the way that politics are and the way that we're so divided in America these days, no one is going to get a significant share over anybody else of popular vote anytime soon.
See, I don't even think we're that divided. I think niggas is just scary ass pussy.
No, you look at statistics and you listen to experts. We are extremely, extremely divided, more than any other time in history. In our American history, I mean.
Everybody's got their own opinions, perspectives.
That proves the point right there.
That's what I'm saying.
But that also comes along from social media and the internet. We've been put into a super individualistic mind frame in America, so where everyone thinks that they've, we do, got our own platform. So everyone feels as though there is no I align with this political entity. It's more or less I do what I want, and that's just going to keep fragmenting more and more and more.
I'm going to say this because I believe differently, and I'm going to tell you why I believe differently. Is because when you put people's ideologies together, we have more in common than we have divided, right? Than we have against.
Yeah, I think you missed my point, though. I agree with you. That's not what I'm saying is the
Okay,
current case, though.
but that's where I'm coming down to, because of the simple fact you take out politics, right? People have way more in common than anything else when it comes. I don't even care when it even comes to fucking religion, but you put politics in there and it causes a whole shitstorm. Because I'll tell you right now, with the conversations that I have with people, and they'll say that they're a Democrat, but when you start talking about their policies, no, you're a conservative and you don't even realize it. But they'll tell you because you're a Republican. And that's crazy as hell to me.
I gotta find this information. I'm gonna send it to you when I get a chance. But I agree with you fully. Like, we're saying the same thing.
And oh no, I didn't want to get into that today. So I'll take that off. I didn't want to get into that. Where's that other? Did I have another? No, I didn't have another video. But yeah, let's pull up the oh, you know what? No, I know. I remember what I wanted to pull up. Oh no, I didn't. Because that was talking about that too. Yeah, because they definitely take this shit out of a playbook. Let me see. I'm trying to look. I found it. Hold on. You know what I should have did while I was doing that is, hold on, you guys. I'm gonna be right back. Me and Jontel will be right back. Let me find Trip.
In Rwanda, I got 2 gallons of gas in the backseat. Finna rid ya, please. I got that zoot suit boot juice. Yeah, kill you with a fingernail. There's air raid sirens in residential villages, wholesale slaughter, sons and daughters just because of their parentage, heritage, need a hermitage, pilgrimage, cleanse your sins, you bathe in the blood of innocence, it's a reticence to confess, there is no remembrance for those bled.
Rise against the system, rise and fight for the dreams, the children, the hurt, hunger, lost souls from cancer's addictions, slavery and sins. Fight for the lost friends, fight for the love, the kind that comes from within. The truth won't be lost, I will fight for all are to win.
All I want is love, and you want it all the time. Could be our space and envy, I'd surely let you borrow mine. So should we take a gambit, spin 3 sevens in a line? Just share our space and envy, I'm sure we'd turn out fine. All you want is love, and you want it all the time. Take my space and envy, don't forget that this one's mine.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
We were talking about memorizing stuff. I think I do better memorizing things with the aesthetic, like emotions of my.
So I wanted to just show this part right here. So in 1977, Roots did a rare double, winning a Pulitzer Prize and a National Book Award. In both cases, a special citation. But that was before Haley was forced to settle plagiarism suit out of court, conceding the following year that parts of it were lifted from a 1967 novel, The African, and before significant elements of the book's family history unraveled when investigated. No documentary evidence could be found for parts of the 19th century story, and the Gret, whatever, who stole his sole source in the Gambia may have just been ambly telling him that what he wanted to hear. Most of us feel it's highly unlikely that Alex actually found the village whence his ancestor sprang, cited his friend Henry Louis Gates Jr., the Pope of African American Studies, in 1998, calling Roots a work of the imagination. The autobiography has
also been criticized for distorting the facts of Malcolm X's life to give it a narrative shape. Seeing that what's crazy is I never knew most of this shit. Griot? What does that mean? Griot.
You're a griot. So a griot is it's a West African derived word. It's a poet. It's someone that tells stories. It's someone that passes on knowledge. It's someone that passes on knowledge and information from our ancestors to bring on to the next generation to keep our culture preserved and keep our culture going. We are the leaders. We are the ones that help shape our histories of our peoples. To be a griot is a great duty. To be a griot is to be a rapper. To be a griot is to be a storyteller, a singer, a poet, an intellectual, a philosopher, a philanthropist, an activist, a revolutionary. All those kinds of people are griots, and it derives from West Africa, and it's a name that they brought with them over here. So I myself identify as a griot. My bad. I had that word spoke out to me, and I saw you skip over it, and I was like, "Nah,
good. You're good.
it was
Go
the
ahead.
perfect time to do a little story time and bring that up to people so they knew." Yeah, I think that's
crazy.
something that we all have
There's a
in
lot
us.
of things that I didn't even fucking know, man, and that's crazy. And it's like, why were they, if they knew all that shit was like fake and not a true story, why did they lead us to, never mind, I already know why.
Right, I was gonna say, you know that.
Yeah, that feel good, but it's like, why, man? Because
Like
it's
they
like,
would really give us something real. Come on.
no, I know, but it's like, damn, because it's crazy to, I'm sitting here, when I was reading this article earlier, it was a part of that his work continues to resonate in popular culture, most recently when the rapper Kendrick Lamar cited the autobiography as the book that changed him and recorded the 2015 track King Kunta, in which Roots rebel slave becomes a swaggering crime lord. And it's like the fact that, you know, LeVar Burton was his name.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, no, I forgot it because I just said Reading Rainbow when I talked about it earlier.
Yeah, I'm done.
Well, that's what his name was.
No, I know him by LeVar Burton.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I just couldn't think of his name. Whatever. He's a liar anyway. Well, no, he ain't a liar, but it just tripped me out because it makes me. I ain't gonna say he a liar, but he's something.
Why? He got nothing to do with that.
I'm not. No, I didn't say him. I'm not talking about LeVar Burton. I like LeVar Burton. I grew up on LeVar Burton. Reading Rainbow.
Same word.
But it just trips me out because I mean, I was just telling Ashley just the other day talking about Kunta Kinte and shit, and telling her, and then yeah, man, this shit just blows my mind though. The shit they want us to believe and the shit that they want us to, but I guess that's America.
Yeah,
that is America. But since I got you on here, I'm gonna go into something that we can discuss, and it has to do with policing.
Okay.
So let me get to it real quick. I think I shared it this morning. It was talking about Minneapolis and their consent decree.
Yeah.
I want that to come up. All right. Okay, so let me share this tab instead. So what you're seeing right here is and I'll share it into here too. But last week, the city of Minneapolis selected their monitoring team, which is the effective law enforcement for all. It should be sparking concerns among certain residents, but the timing of the organization's incorporation in Delaware just weeks after the tragic George Floyd incident raises eyebrows. More intriguing is the fact that their headquarters resides in a lavish $1.2 million home of the company's leader in Maryland. In a puzzling move, the organization established an office in New Orleans, situated in a gated community with 5 bedrooms and a golf course. What adds a layer of skepticism is their current status as not in good standing in Louisiana for failing to file an annual report, suggesting a lack of attention to administrative details. The question arises, if they overlook such basic requirements, how thorough will their monitoring of Minneapolis be? The organization's track record is equally questionable. Their website boasts only one project, a written report for the Montgomery County Police Department. This limited experience leaves many wondering about their capability to handle the complex challenges within Minneapolis effectively. Moreover, the composition of the monitoring team includes former chiefs of police from New Orleans and Baltimore police departments, both of whom failed to achieve compliance with their respective DOJ consent decrees during their tenures. This history of non-compliance raises concerns about their ability to guide Minneapolis towards meaningful and lasting police reform. Adding another layer of complexity, members from the New Orleans monitoring team, known for open hostilities with the city's mayor and police department, are part of the Minneapolis team. This inter-team conflict raises questions about the effectiveness and unity of the monitoring efforts. As citizens seek transparency and accountability in the monitoring process, it becomes crucial to question the suitability of this organization for such a critical task. The lack of diverse and successful projects, coupled with a questionable history of compliance, calls into question the selection process and whether the residents of Minneapolis will truly benefit from this monitoring team. Advocates are urging a thorough reevaluation to ensure that the monitoring team aligns with genuine interests and needs of the community.
This sounds like a huge conflict of interest, and it just sounds really messy.
But what's crazy is when you start to look in these consent decrees, dog, and then what's crazy, Baltimore,
So what
Memphis,
explain to
Los
people,
Angeles.
explain to people what's the dissent, whatever you just said.
So a consent decree is something that came out from the 1994 Crime Bill Act, and it was something to hold local police departments accountable for violating civil rights.
Okay.
Basically, if they were, doing policing wrong, it was to get them, to see how, but it's never anybody that's been under a consent decree has never fully gotten out of it. So it's like, how do we make change with something that has no end result, has no metrics? What success and failure looks like when you still have these police departments still in them, and all they're doing is bleeding money from city budgets.
Maybe that was the plan.
I do honestly believe that. I don't really believe that reform and change has anything to do with the game. Anything.
No, it's just a waste of money to say, hey, we're doing something, but really no one wants to really do anything.
No, and it's that, what's crazy is right. And what's
it's a ploy. They're playing the game.
Exactly, on paper, because they bring in all these so-called experts are in their field, and it's like, okay, that they're qualified. They might be qualified on paper, but what have they done? Because they never show anything what they've done. It's like that written report that they did. Who cares fuck about a written report? What kind of actionable steps have you taken?
Talk about it.
Right, and that's what talk about it, Robert. They just get more money. They just get more and more money off.
It's one big Ponzi scheme.
And when I was digging into this, Minneapolis chose the perfect people to do it, right? Because at the end of the day, they work with people like this all day, every day. When it comes to their nonprofits who are not active or who misuse money, and so they're not doing. We're not getting anything different than what we've already been dealing with for years.
Right.
Right, man. And I don't understand how people don't see that. And I posted it into a Minneapolis group, and people were like, "Well, what can we do about it? Call your elected official. Call whoever is in your ward, whoever. If it's Vital, if it's Ellison, if it's Payne, if it's Chavez, Koski, Palmisano, Jenkins, Payne, Shagtai, Chowdhury, Wansley, Cashman. I think I'd said all 13 of them. If it's any of them, call them up and tell them that, hey, something is fishy here. Why are we paying? We're going to pay these people all of this money. And they were only literally started a nonprofit 2 weeks after the murder of George Floyd. Make it make sense to me. But it's because I really dug into this shit, and I can see why one of the Minneapolis groups were mad, but they shouldn't have been no mad, because if they would have got it, I'd be going on here saying the same shit about them, because they just as crooked as the people that they hired anyway. That's the whole crazy thing.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? I swear to God, if L Flowers, stuttering L Flowers, and Bethel and UCMT would have got it, because they might be that group that started in the early 90s, late 80s, but that not with the same intentions, because I'll tell you right now, the truth tellers, the trendsetters, the truth seekers, Ron Edwards and Bellacourt ain't there no more. That's crazy. Oh, Lord, did you just, Jesus Christ. Oh, get the fuck out of here. I hate that. I'm gonna, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna watch that today, because I know his weird ass. L puts that on his so Camo J Community Conversations yesterday, they'll be working with them doing the 50 million violence interrupting, and there is 80 million for businesses, 29 just for North. God damn. Is there enough demand for the businesses, or is it setting them up to fail? I believe it's setting them up to fail, because you got that train coming in there, and people are there. All it's gonna be is moving that money. It ain't gonna, North Minneapolis ain't gonna see that, because you got the train coming right down Broadway. And they've already been discussing, Georgia Ford had, I think it was last weekend, had black businesses on and was talking about how it's gonna ruin North Minneapolis. So them talking about all that's just bullshit, because even Camel Bay is moving.
Damn.
It's crazy. We ain't ever gonna see no change, man. Not the way that we're going. Now people got to do their homework.
Agreed.
We've definitely got to do our homework, and honestly, we got to be able to have tough conversations. We got to be able to have thoughtful and I'm over here stuttering. I don't even know the perfect word to say, but to be respectful to one another. You know, treat others, have conversations of how you want people to have conversations with you. Think about that before you get into because we ain't gonna get nowhere if we just keep on name calling, if we keep on disrespecting people. Let's keep about it what we're in this for, the community. There ain't no point of calling nobody a bitch or a hoe or whatever their sexual orientation is or their religion. No, that's just hateful. That's just hateful. Let's have thoughtful, educational discourse. Because I get tired of the disrespect I see all the time. That's why I get tired of talking in them spaces. Because the minute somebody don't agree with you, they call you a bitch. They want to mute you. Man, if you don't get your cell warrior ass up out of here. Like, that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like they want to call themselves a leader, but can't even spell border right.
Ooh, that part.
Right. spelled it B, and then did it multiple times, not just once, did it multiple times on posts. And it's like, okay, what? Wait, that's not even how you spell border, dog. And you want people to get behind you? No, you need to go get behind the spelling bee. Because damn, because at first I thought maybe it was spell check. So I had to do it I had to grab multiple things. I grabbed the Android phone to see if it did it. Nope. I said, okay, maybe Siri did that shit. Nope. And I'm like, damn. That shit crazy. And we're supposed to get behind that?
Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Wasn't Harriet Tubman illiterate? Wasn't certain people illiterate? I get your point, though, because it's not about can you read or write. It's about can you critically think. So I get your point. I'm just taking it home.
No, I dig that. Okay, but
because we ain't all the most articulate, but we know what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's more or less what you're trying to say. Because we all ain't, we all didn't have the best words to say, but we know what needs to be done.
Oh, definitely. But if you can't spell border, come on, man. That's something you learned in first grade.
Yeah, but these kids today ain't learning nothing.
No, these grown ass senior citizens. Shit, this nigga older than me. That's what trips me out. But we got about 4 minutes left, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this week is gonna be tough for a lot of y'all. Yeah, I might have a lot of people hate me this week. Because tomorrow I'm gonna get into Emmett Till.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna talk about that, and not that Emmett Till wasn't that is a real story. That is Emmett Till was real, but the story behind it and how quickly, because I didn't know that literally it was that quick. Everything was over within a month after him dying. The trial and like all of that shit was over with and just that quick.
Damn.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I don't think a lot of us knew that. I never even knew that they did a article and admitted to doing the crime.
Oh yeah, because there was nothing that could be done.
Right, because it was there's no double jeopardy. There's no
right.
And they were found not guilty, which really, even though they were guilty as fuck, which really tripped me out. But there's so much more to that and how people got notoriety. People got big off of that. And there was other things that happened during that time too, because Medgar Evers died right before Emmett Till. And that's how you had the rise of Roy Wilkins, who was under Medgar. Because before there was Martin, we had Roy. Before we had Malcolm, we had Medgar. So I want people to realize that. And Roy Wilkins was actually bigger than Martin until Martin did that I Have a Dream speech. But I never even knew. Because, digging into Roy Wilkins, damn, he did a lot for the NAACP, which the NAACP back then and what it is now is completely two different things.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They did a lot educational wise. They had their own newsletters. I mean, their people were out speaking the truth so much that they knew what they were getting into. It was it was a life or death situation everywhere they went. From, fire bombings to being shot at to being beat for just speaking up for their people, standing up for the right shit. But I'm going to land here. I'm going to let John Tell say his ending, and then I'm going to say mine, and then we're going to get up out of here.
Oh, you already know. The coffin is open till the case is closed. Make sure y'all catch out the Colonizer's Coffin on our Facebook page, our YouTube page. Chaz, it's always a pleasure having me on your platform to speak and share my truth as well. And I really appreciate you always sharing knowledge with the world. It's imperative.
Appreciate that. I just want people to enjoy their Monday. Today's the 5th day of Black History Month. Enjoy it. It's supposed to be a beautiful day in Minnesota. Go out and enjoy that. Go out and see if your homeless community is okay. Go see if you can do something at your local shelter. Go see if you can do something at your local food shelf. Give back, right? Pay it forward. That being said, man, y'all already know what it is. Win or fail. Well, damn, my mind is stuck today. Win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell. Wish me well. Y'all have a great one.
Urban Conservative.